Hey, what is up guys? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Yosh. Now, last video, it was a short one and we spoke about rethinking investing in materialistic stuff because that's a real quick way to improve your emotional well-being overall. So we ended that video on a note wondering, okay, it's easy to sort of inculcate into your life not investing in awesome stuff, but what about things like marriage and partnership and your job or whatever else that is inside your life for a significant period of time, your house? How do you thwart hedonic adaptation for that stuff? That's what we're going to talk about in this video, so let's get into it. So, there are four main strategies that we can use to thwart hedonic adaptation. So in this video, I'm going to cover, I think just the first one because it's quite a big chunky bit of video. Let's first get the four strategies down. The four strategies that you can use to thwart hedonic adaptation, or in simpler terms, getting used to stuff, is number one, savoring. Number two, negative visualization. Number three, make this day your last. And number four is gratitude. Now, savoring and gratitude are two of the biggest components in these four strategies that you can use. Savoring and negative visualization sort of work together, and make this day your last and gratitude kind of they work together as a pair as well. But I think how I'll split these videos up is I'm going to discuss savoring today, give you the research, and then do negative visualization, make this day your last, into another video, and go on to gratitude. I had to double check. Yes, go on to gratitude. And mind you, this was all just one lecture. One 30-minute lecture, and I have 4 videos to make from it. Anyway, let's get down to it. So what is savoring? First of all, savoring is the act of stepping outside an experience that you are in right now to review and appreciate that experience in that moment. And some really good coffee. Really good coffee. So, why is savoring, which sounds so simple, such an important thing? And why does it affect your mood and your overall emotional well-being like it does? Well, I'll tell you why. Because when you savor, what you're really doing is you're reining in your attention from all the things that your mind wants to think about, do. Oh, my mortgage, I gotta pay those bills, my kids are still at school, blah, 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 blah. All of that stuff. Your mind always wants to jump around. It's literally always arguing for attention with everything else that you're doing right now. So when you sort of rein in those thoughts to just your cup of coffee, in my example, you are really just allowing your mind to sit there, smell it, experience it. Take those 3 minutes. It might not be a lot. It might not be a huge amount of time. 5 minutes perhaps, just to have that coffee. 5 minutes, if you're on time, won't affect any outcome that you have responsibilities about. It won't change whether you pay your bills faster. It won't change whether you get through traffic faster to pick up your kid. It just means that you are in this present moment experiencing your cup of coffee a little bit more intimately. So what that does is it allows you to focus on that experience itself, and focusing on that experience right this moment allows you to start higher up on the hedonic treadmill. So it takes longer for you to get used to that cup of coffee. So you tend to appreciate one good cup of coffee and you start higher up on the hedonic scale. And then you drop much slower than if you started here and it would drop down earlier, and you would cross to, oh well, I barely had a cup of coffee, and you have another one, and another one, and another one. So this is why savoring is such an important thing, because it allows you to start higher up on the hedonic treadmill, which means that it takes you longer to get used to said experience. Simple as that, hey? Now, research to back all of this up. Jose et al. 2012. What can I do to savor an experience? So that's exactly what this research was about. It's all fine and dandy. It sounds pretty spiritual to go, yeah, experience it, you know, be in the moment, be like real brah, yeah, enjoy it, you know? It's easy to say that stuff, but how do you implement that? How do you put that into practice every day? What sort of things can you do to improve your overall emotional well-being and improve and augment savoring a moment? Now, not all of these apply for all situations, so utilize them as you see fit for improving a specific moment of savoration or savoring a specific moment. Not all of these apply, right? So, what can we do to savor an experience? So, now these are the top 8 things that has been proven to improve your emotional well-being when savoring. So, talk to another person about how good you felt about that experience. In this case, you actively looked for other people to share that experience with, which means that you are sharing a moment with another person, human connection. These are things that we crave. Our bodies and minds actually require this. Thought about how lucky you are to have experienced it. You know, there's so many ways that you could have never been there. You could have never been at that experience. Even as simple as, any of you watch the Final Destination movies? One moment forward or backwards, and they miss an entire cataclysmic, chaotic sequence of events. Let's not go beyond that in the movie, because they all, spoiler alert, they die really horribly. But that's not the point. The point is that if you're stuck in traffic, chances are you're probably lucky to be exactly where you are. And trying to see it that way is going to improve your emotional well-being. I don't know. I just use traffic as an example because it's just one of those moments where you feel pretty helpless. You're just like stuck there going, get out the way! You've got to go, son! I don't know. The other one, number 4, this is, thought about sharing your experience with others. When even thinking about sharing your experience. So even if you're doing something by yourself, when you're planting a tree by yourself, or you're doing a garden by yourself, or you're cooking dinner before your partner comes home by yourself, whatever, you're cleaning the house, I don't know. You're doing it by yourself, but just the thought of your partner or sharing that peace and quiet once they come home instead of having to hustle and bustle, even the thought of it and sharing that experience gives you an emotional boost, a well-being up. +1. That. I know, you can obviously look at all of this and be like, oh well, you can't really savor being at a funeral. Yeah, of course not. Of course not. You're not supposed to savor being at a funeral. But if you look at the a glass half empty sort of attitude, you're never going to find anything worth looking at, anything worth savoring. If you're at a funeral, chances are you're probably meeting relations that you've never met in a long time. So savor the moment with those people, savor the conversations that you may have, savor the memories of the person who has just passed away. These days more than ever, we're probably losing a lot of loved ones. Doesn't mean that you still can't savor these moments. There are things that you can savor, even in the worst of situations. That is the Taoist symbol of yin and yang. There's a light in the darkest areas, and there's a darkness in the brightest of spots, That's what it is, there's a balance. Show physical expressions of energy, so in some instances, if you win an award, you get something that you were really, working hard for, all that, 200 subscribers, just saying. Come on, let's go bros, let's go. Show physical expressions of energy. You're laughing, you're celebrating, you're having that yes moment, It's just like, yes, I feel it. Thank you very much for this magnificent pen that I have been given by Balmain Paris? I don't know. Anyway, you know what I'm talking about. Laughed or giggled thinking about the experience because you were happy at that moment. You're thinking back on it. It's doing great. You're in the moment, enjoying it, or thinking about that moment and enjoying it, replaying it in your head. That's also an improvement. How proud you felt if you achieved something that was difficult to achieve, all that. And lastly, was absorbed in that moment. When I'm making video, when I'm editing video, time just goes by. In Taoist philosophy, it says that this is the process of being in Wu Wei, or in flow state. I don't know how to properly explain the Taoist principles and the Zen principles that I'm studying right now. I'm doing that alongside this. But was absorbed in the moment is exactly the same as being true and in line with your spiritual self. That's what they're talking about here. Be absorbed in whatever you're doing. So when you are playing video games, you are just in that, and next minute you look up 5 hours later, damn it, I forgot to eat and pee, gotta go. You know what I mean? Like that moment. That happens to me while I'm playing video games, yes, but also while I'm editing video. I can just sit there in a state of Wu Wei or flow and just look up, and it's 8 hours later, I haven't eaten. God damn it, 400, never mind, I'm not even gonna check. So yeah, those are all the things that you can do to improve an experience of savoring. But here's the really annoying weird part, okay? I read this stuff and I'm like, oh my god, I'm shooting myself in the foot like every moment of my life. Damn it! Tell me if this is true for you in the comments below, alright? What activities can actively hurt savoring or increase hedonic adaptation, which means you get used to things faster? While doing certain activities, you're focusing on the future and not in the moment. So while you're having breakfast with your partner, or you're having a really nice intimate moment with your kid, you're thinking about, shit, the stock market's gonna crash, or damn it, I forgot to pay my bills, or bloody hell, I completely forgot to pump fuel in the car. We all do this. I do this all the time. Damn it. Like, we're all stuck in the future, but be present. Try to be present. Number 2, reminding yourself it will be over soon. So if you're going through a rough patch, or if you're going through a happy moment, you are in the middle of a holiday, or you are in the middle of a pandemic, you're suffering, whatever it is, you're gonna say it's gonna be over soon. Both sides of the spectrum are completely horrible for you, because right now, probably you don't see it, but it took me a while to see it. But even amidst the pandemic, there's a purpose for all of us. I work as a cleaner in a hospital. I used to not be proud of myself for being a cleaner. You know, the social stigma of it all, the way people look at you, etc., etc. But now, I am apparently one of the front line. I disagree with the front line. We are the last line of defense. You are the front line. Short PSA, by the way. Like apparently some of the forefront essential workers, but that doesn't really, it would have meant a lot to me back then, but now that I'm in this mindset, this weird growth mindset, it doesn't even matter what people consider my job is, to be honest, or whether they care that I do anything important. I don't care. I honestly don't care, because it does not affect my emotional well-being. What really does affect my emotional well-being is the fact that I have a house, I have a job, right? A lot of people are out on the streets, they're forfeiting mortgages, they're forfeiting bank loans. I don't have to do any of that. I can go and buy food, enough for me to pay my mortgage, enough for me to pump my car full of fuel and keep my internet running and my lights and heating and all that going. I'm really thankful for that stuff. So we tend to tell ourselves that it's going to be over soon, but at the same time, I could have easily looked at this, focused on the stuff that I'm away from my girlfriend, I'm away from my family, I don't get to see any of my friends here, I have to isolate pretty much 100% because I work at the hospital. I'm a high risk. I have a potential of spreading it to other people more than anything else. So I have to stay away from everyone, and this is the only way I can connect with anyone else at the moment. And I can feel sad for myself. I can feel sorry for myself if I want to, using all this stuff, but I don't, because I have so many good things going for me, Most of my friends are free. I get to play video games with them. Most of my friends are, at home, so they're often available for video call. I'm connecting with so many people through these videos. I get to study, things, you can always pull out the good stuff, right? Number 3, telling yourself it wasn't as good as I hoped. So, you get into a relationship, you go on a holiday, you get into a new car, after a few weeks you're like, it's not as, brand new iPhone. It's not as good as I hoped, Quick way to get used to things. And once you get used to things, hedonic adaptation does the rest for you. No, be thankful. Even after 2 years, this phone will still run, and that's great, That's an important way to look at things. This pen is good enough, your book is good enough, your car is good enough. It's just as good as I hoped, instead of going, it wasn't as good as I hoped. Anyway, reminding yourself nothing lasts forever. Now this, I have a sort of bifurcated viewpoint here, because I am Buddhist by religion, by birth, but I'm more spiritual than religious, and we'll go into the spiritual religious stuff another time if you're keen on hearing that stuff. But remind yourself nothing lasts forever. In this instance, what they're talking about is, if you are, this is really important for relationships, right? Relationships. You go into a relationship, as soon as you start, you feel the fireworks, blah, 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 you focus on stuff like, everything craps itself. And if you've been through a few relationships or a few rough relationships in the past, chances are you've grown a bit of a cynic in you, like I had, right? One divorce was enough for me. You start a new relationship, it's like, this is all the same, it's never gonna last. All of this is impermanent. Why put any effort? Well, you're missing the point. You are thinking about a future that may or may not exist, and sometimes chances are thinking this way is a self-fulfilling prophecy. And when the other partner, the other human being on the other end, hears stuff like this, well, why would they want to be your second fiddle? It's never going to work like that. You got to think about what you can do right here, right now, to make it as best as possible. Make it as important, valuable an experience for you and for the other person as possible. Nothing lasts forever. It's true. All of this is impermanent. This form, this state, these events, these global pandemics, everything. Our civilizations, they will all crumble amidst the gargantuan scale of time. But there's no harm in being present. So this actively hurts savoring the moment. Thought it would never be this good again. So if you are in an experience and you are having the absolute blast of your time, a blast of your life, and in one of those moments where you're sneaking into a corner by yourself, you are slightly drunk and you're just sitting there going, it'll never be as good as this ever again. I don't need to explain that one. We've all been there. It's not a good look. Thought about ways it could be better. We do this all the time. You get a new phone, anything material, anything static, we tend to do this more often than not. My camera doesn't have RAW, or my house doesn't have this, or my car doesn't have Bluetooth audio, damn it, blah, 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 blah. We constantly do this. As you can see, some of these all address one of the four annoying features of the mind, right? It's not exactly specifically targeting just the one, which is hedonic adaptation. They're attacking a few of them. Thought about ways it could be better is kind of leading into social comparison. Like, we don't think in absolutes. If your car runs just as far and is just as comfortable and just as nice to be inside than anyone else's Mercedes or Porsche, then you're having a bad point of reference. So thought about ways it could be better, you are doing that to yourself. It's a quick way for you to get used to something really quickly, even while you're inside it. Last but never least, tell yourself you never deserved this good thing anyway. Wow, that is... I've never really done this to myself because I'm probably not as abusive to myself as that. I'd like to think that I was a little bit more self-aware, but I have seen people and I have had moments where I thought that. And those moments were some of my lowest. Example, divorce. It was really a rough time and I told myself it was all my fault and that I probably never deserved this to begin with. Nonsense. It is absolute nonsense. It takes two people to stick together, and if they did not stick together with you, then your opinion of perfection is misguided. You deserve better They deserve better. Nothing better could have come from that, right? But stop telling yourself that you never deserved this good thing. It's crazy. It's crazy to think that someone would actually go and actively antagonize themselves and say that you didn't deserve it. Anyway, this video is getting long because this savoring stuff is it's long. It's a lot of stuff to talk about, and I'm going through it as fast as I possibly can. So sorry about that. Another research. Now this one is a bit of a double-edged blade on how to experience savoring a little bit better. Like those points are the really good ones on what to do and what not to do. But there's another study done by Kurtz in 2008 that says that taking photographs of experiences to use to savor longer. This is a double-edged sword, because if you start doing it for Instagram purposes, it's gonna be a problem. Like if you start focusing on logging and collecting experiences for Jesus, I just spat everywhere. Sorry about that. If you don't focus on the experiences and start focusing on just taking pictures and logging that and collecting images of experiences, that will actively antagonize your moment of savoring. So I was trying to rack my brains around how to sort of give a really good example of this, and it just eludes me. It was so hard for me to sort of think about it, but then it hit me, right? If you have a parent or a grandparent who has a smartphone who's just learned how to take photographs, I think that's the way that they're talking about approaching this situation, right? And I realize that I do it already in a weird way, okay? I'll explain how. So when your parents or grandparents take photographs, they don't focus on framing, they don't focus on, color, depth, dynamic range, or whatever else that you think about. Will this be a good double tap opportunity on Instagram? No, that's not what they're thinking. They're capturing the moment to remember later, right? A real life representation. They're not going to edit the photograph. They're not going to think about perfect framing. They're just going to be like... So I think this is what they mean. And I also do this, but in a different way. Instead of photography, I use video for this. So whenever I'm hanging out with my friends, or whenever I go clubbing or partying or having a really good time, I turn on my video and I just record video for the sake of recording video. One time I went to a club in Sri Lanka and completely lost my phone. Someone grabbed it off my hands and they continued to video, and it came back to me somehow. We were all very plastered, but I was quite happy to watch those videos the next day after and weeks after that, because everyone was just asking, yo, where are those videos? I want to see it. And it was so pleasant to share that experience. I didn't post it anywhere. I did not post it anywhere. They live inside this phone and they will never see the light of day. And that makes them precious to me and the people that I shared it with. And that's what Kurt is talking about here, but it's a double-edged sword. So I probably would leave this for when you're a little bit more aware and more mindful of whether or not you can savor a moment a little bit better than other people, and then if you can, then you can utilize that. Back to the lovely lady, Sonia Lyubomirsky. I always mess her name up. Lyubomirsky et al. 2006. You can also do this really funny, interesting thing called replaying happy moments from your past. Have you heard of it? It's really interesting stuff. You can actually pick stuff out from your mind and think about a moment when you were happy and replay it. What? Magic! Like, it's crazy stuff. Thinking about moments that made you happy will increase your emotional well-being and allow you to savor those moments a little bit better. So this is really interesting research, because this is one of those things that comes back to annoying feature number one. Your greatest intuitions are often wrong. Now her research, what it has done was they got people to go and pick a happy memory from the past and think of it like rewinding a videotape and playing it back. If you don't know what a videotape is, come on. Like, seriously? How old are you? Were you born after the 2000s? Like, okay. You're 20 years old if you... it just hit me. I'm so old. No. I'm doing it wrong. I'm getting used to it. Hedonic adaptation, how you fight it is, I am I actually like being 30. So I am 30 with 2 years of experience. I'm level 30 with 2 years of experience. That's how I'm going to look at it. Alright, so pick a happy memory from your past, rewinding it like a videotape, playing it back, right? But all you have to do is set a timer for 8 minutes a day. And if you do this 3 days straight, check this out. Your emotional well-being has a sustained positive uptick for 4 weeks. 4 weeks, for an entire month, by just picking a happy set of memories and focusing on the happy memories for 8 minutes for 3 days. That is 24 minutes in total. 8 minutes for 3 days straight, and you'll have a proven emotional well-being improvement for over 4 weeks before you return back to baseline. That is absolutely insane! Like, did you think that would do that to you? This is research. This is actual research that proves the point. So, what I want you to do is take these things that I told you about savoring and apply it. Apply it right now, because you can apply savoring to anything. If you are lying in bed, even if you're in hospital, you can still try and savor stuff. I know it sounds really weird, but it's about changing your mindset. It's about pulling you out of your old school self-destructive mindsets and then improving the perspective, reframing how you look at things and how you look at your experiences and how you look at your life in general. And the more you do that, the harder it is for your mind to get used to things, think that nothing will improve or get better, or you deserve any of this stuff. Because you don't deserve any of this stuff. You deserve to be happy. You deserve to be smiling. And in the next video, I'm going to talk to you about 3 and 4, which is negative visualization and making this day your last. Once I talk to you guys about that one, I'll talk to you guys about number 4, which is gratitude, which is also a big one. Alright, until then, catch you guys in the next video. Peace!